There's a new report out from the Center for Responsive Politics and Kantar Media Intelligence, and they looked into how much the fossil fuel industry spent in the midterm elections. They say, quote, taking into account direct contributions to individuals and groups, spending on television ads and lobbying, the energy industry spent more than $721 million during just the 2014 midterm election cycle. They say the industry as a whole gave $84 million to candidates, political parties, and political action committees. They spent $163 million on television ads and paid nearly $500 million to Washington lobbyists in the 2 years leading up to the elections. So think about how much that is for just a midterm election, which, by the way, a lot of the American people didn't even know they were going on. And these guys, again, are spending $721 million on the election. So environmental groups, which counter the fossil fuel industry and the energy industry, they spent a measly $43 million. So when you look at the disparity between what environmental groups spend and what the oil companies spend, you begin to understand where we get our weak regulatory policies from. See, to an alien looking at our political system and looking at our anti-pollution laws, they might say, wow, you guys are crazy. You're really polluting the air and you really don't care about the environment, do you? But the reality is the people care about the environment, the people care about regulation, but the people are not getting their way with their so-called democratic government. It's the oil companies and the fracking companies that are getting their way. And get this, how's this for a stunning fact? The Koch brothers alone spent anywhere from $100 million to $300 million this election cycle. Now you might say, well, why is there such a disparity? $100 million and $300 million is pretty far apart. Well, the reason is the transparency laws. A lot of them have been struck down in recent times. So we don't even know the exact number, and we don't even know the exact people sometimes who are buying our politicians. But they spent $100 million to $300 million to get their way and to lobby in this election. Is there anybody who, knowing the facts and understanding the facts, can say that we still live in a democracy? What's so frustrating to me is that you have a mainstream media in America that has unilaterally disarmed on this issue. They refuse to bring it up in a serious way. They refuse to bring up real numbers and make real connections. They are part of the establishment. They are part of the elite. They are part of the system. And they don't call out the corruption. They don't call out the legalized bribery. And you want to know why? Because they're the beneficiaries of it. Now, how are they the beneficiaries of it? Well, when you have money in politics, where does it end up going? When corporations give money to political campaigns, where does the money go in large part? It goes from the political campaigns to buy ads on TV. So this ad money is making the media corporations wealthy. And you wonder why they don't talk about corruption in any serious way. You wonder why they don't talk about legalized bribery in any serious way. You wonder why they didn't bring up the political science research from this year, which found that there's no correlation between public opinion and the policy that our government ends up enacting. Isn't that stunning? You can go across the board, you name the issue, you name the topic, and I'll show you how the government does not legislate what the majority of the American people want. 90% of the American people wanted a universal background check for gun purchases. We didn't get it. Why? Because they're not listening to us. They're listening to the NRA and the gun manufacturers who pay the politicians. The one group of people in America that has the biggest financial conflict of interest and should be the last people to set the policy for guns in America, set the policy in America. 80% of the American people, including a majority of Republicans, want a minimum wage increase. We didn't get that either. You want to go down the list? 17% of the American people still want to be in Afghanistan. Well, we're there under a Democratic administration, and these guys are supposed to be the more anti-war party. The list goes on and on. The list goes on and on. The government does not represent us anymore. And the reason why is what we just went through right here. These dollar figures are very important and very powerful. I don't know about you guys, but if somebody gives me $721 million, I'm likely to listen to them over public opinion.